All right, guys. If you're seeing me, I'm not confirmed that I'm live yet, so I haven't started yet, but you'll have an idea what this live video is about. Hopefully, Facebook puts it on the description. I'm gonna look at it on my phone. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so you have an idea what we're talking about today. It's all about your prosperity and prosperity for the masses and how you can ultimately achieve that. Just cleaning my screen up, achieve that for yourself and your family and in the revolution that is happening right now. And I truly believe this. So if you're watching, thank you for the heart. Love it. Let me know that you're here. I am about to dive deep into some fundamentals about crypto. I've been talking about it, I've been posting about it, I've been chatting about it with people. But so basically, what I did is I put together some slides, some concepts that I think is vital for everyone to understand, so that we can all wrap our heads around how big of a revolution really this is. Hey Janet, nice to see you. And so with that, I'll share my screen. I'll start my slides. So I'm entitling this prosperity for the masses. And so if you want prosperity in your life, I suggest that you tune in. And this is only part one. I might do maybe three, four, five, I don't know, but at least we have a part one. I think we have at least three parts. So we'll start here. And then with any questions you have, just drop them in the comments and I'll make sure to answer them. So part one is all about what is even crypto, because you probably heard about it. Maybe you've read about it already. Maybe you hear about it in the news, but you don't really know what it is and what kind of value it will have for the world, right? So really, I'm going to make it simple. Crypto is basically digital money, digital currency. It's code, computer code, right? That lives on the internet everywhere, right? And you've heard Bitcoin is pretty much synonymous to crypto because it's the first and the most popular out there. It's the very first one that was ever created that literally like paved the way for this entire industry that's growing faster than the internet, which is crazy, right? So, but there's other thousands of different currencies out there, and some of them are not even currencies, because this technology is now being adapted in other industries like music and art and sports. That is going to be in a different session. We're just talking about what is crypto right now. So crypto transactions are logged on the blockchain. And what that means is that all transactions are recorded and verified. And so that means that there's a lot of accuracy and transparency around this technology. And then last but not least, crypto is decentralized. So when I say that the code lives all over the internet, no one can control it, no one owns it, or ever will. Just by the nature of it, the goal of it is it's decentralized so that no bank or government or big company can monopolize it, which is why I titled this session prosperity for the masses, because it really is. You're here, you're watching, whether you're watching live or you're watching the replay. I just want you to understand that you're being exposed to this information now. And I'm very passionate about this when I realized that this is a decentralized system that is growing fast. And if you know about it now, when it hasn't hit critical mass adoption, there's really a lot of prosperity and abundance when you're tuning into the right information and getting the right information from the right people, trusted sources. There's a huge opportunity here for everyone. That's why I titled it prosperity for the masses. So that's what is crypto. So The question is, are we heading for mass adoption? That's what we're seeing, right? So this is from Newsweek. It said 46 million Americans now own Bitcoin as crypto goes mainstream. That's about 17% of the US adult population. That's just in the US. This is getting adopted. El Salvador just made Bitcoin a legal tender, and a lot of other countries are now following El Salvador's model and seeing how can we do this. And then banks and countries are now looking at having their own cryptocurrency. So yes, this is the beginning. And you're going to hear more and more about it. And so the more you stay informed, the more you stay educated around this area of your finances, the more you're going to be able to take advantage of this opportunity that's more than likely once in a lifetime. This is huge, bigger than the internet, right? So let's talk about some problems that crypto is solving. Most of the world are unbanked. In the US alone, 22% of adults don't have banks or barely have access to a bank. So that means that, a lot of people that don't have banks are not able to have a savings account, have like a proper way to cash their checks, or even a way to build their wealth because they're not able to put their money in the banks, right? That's just in the US. How about in the world, right? So if you're an adult living in the US and you don't have access to a bank, you're having to rely on check cashing services or payday loans, which charge a huge amount of fees. And so this is great news for everyone. So outside of the US, there's 2 billion people that are unbanked. So that means, same thing. They can't protect their money. They can't gain access to wealth building tools. We're not really better off now that you really think about it, with the banking system. And if you have your savings account, I'll make that a little bit more clear later on. Savings account in the bank, you're actually losing value in your money, which is so crazy. But you're not able to plan for your future if you don't have a bank, right? So I put the links to these articles on here so you can read the article yourself if you want, so that you know that like these are from verified sources, right? So it's gonna solve the unbanked problem of the world, basically, so that more people will have more access to financial services, and be able to basically move money around if they wish to, and grow their money easily. So I'll show you some examples. So you might be asking, are there any real world uses for crypto? Well, I've already kind of talked about it. To those that have access to banking and the unbanked. So yes, so this is why I started with the unbanked in the banking system, because when I saw the financial services that are available to us in the crypto world, I was just blown away, blown away. So I'll show you guys. So if you send any kind of money overseas, this is how this looks like traditionally. I'm familiar with this because I've been sent money from overseas before when I used to live in the Philippines. My mom still sends money to my brother, right? And so, how does this look traditionally? Well, you have to go to a bank or Western Union or some kind of transfer system. Usually, you have to wait several days for the money to get to you or to your recipient. And then you usually have to pay massive fees. I was reading an article in Salvador alone. Western Union is actually going to lose $400 million a year in revenue because of Bitcoin being legal there. Just think, El Salvador is now going to save, or El Salvadorians are now going to save $400 million a year on fees, on money transfer fees because of crypto. That is huge. That's ultimately money in back in their pockets, or it stays in their pockets, right? When before they will lose probably about, I don't know, 25% of their money by the time it gets to the recipient, which is ridiculous, right? So now with crypto, You copy a string of text in an exchange, a crypto exchange that is basically an online account. You hit send, and then it's instant. Like literally within minutes, the recipient gets it, and you pay a small fee. Like sometimes it's very nominal. You don't even notice the fee, right? So that's how it's gonna change. How we send money to other people or overseas. How about your savings account? This is my favorite because this was like the first time that I realized I'm like, oh my gosh, I am losing money when I have my money in the bank. So how this looks like right now is you put money in your savings, you get paid less in interest than the rate of inflation. So it's actually gonna be less when you take it out because you're getting paid like I don't know a 0.5% of interest rate, which is so sad. So you essentially lose money when you save it. You're actually better off, I don't know, spending it maybe, because then you're actually getting your money's worth. I don't know, because right now with inflation, our money is maybe about 47% less at least, um, less valuable, right? I was just in Brazil 2 weeks ago, and their money there is about a fifth of how much a dollar is, right? So about 1 real is equal to $5. So it's like really cheap. It's great if you're an American going to Brazil and vacationing, but it's so sad if you're a Brazilian making real, and you know that it's not your money is not as valuable because of inflation. That's what inflation does. That is huge, right? So with crypto, you put your crypto in a crypto bank. That's what I'm doing now. And you make anywhere from 6 to 12% interest. In my bank, I make let's see, 8.8% interest. And so if we were to, let's say you have $30,000 in savings, on your $30,000, you're making about $6 a day. Previously, before that, in my money market account, which is we got a money market account because supposedly you earn more interest, which is a 0.5%. Um, I made $4 in a year in a money market account, which is so sad, right? So um, this is how it's little by little when you see the value and how much more you can get with crypto and how much less fees you're going to pay in the crypto world. It's gonna start to make sense because then you see the numbers add up in your bank account, right? And more money in your pocket. So these are real world uses that are now available to everyone. So I'm here to let you know and educate you that these options are available. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comments or directly in Messenger. If you don't like commenting in the comments, I'd be happy to direct you to any resources that you might need or any other um, resources that might answer your question because I don't have all the answers. This is something that I'm learning, and I'm just happy to share what I'm learning. So, getting a loan. I literally tried this out about a week ago, and it was so easy. So, but how this looks traditionally in a bank, they pull your credit history, right, which affects your credit score. You get a background check. It's a whole process. And then when you do get approved, you pay high interest rates and then you make monthly payments. Normal, right? That's how the world usually works. With crypto, this is how it looks like. You click a button in an exchange where you have your crypto assets. They don't have any background checks. Basically, you're using the crypto that you're saving. They call it hodling because you're holding it for the long term because crypto, especially Bitcoin or Ethereum, they appreciate in value. So it makes sense to hold it. We'll talk about that in another session. But let's say you have that asset in an exchange, you can essentially borrow against it without having to spend your crypto. So they don't do any background checks. It's available right away. If you have an asset that you're holding in there, it can be available in an instant. So you pay also low interest rates. So if the bank will charge you, let's say, I don't know, 12% on a loan, in the crypto world, you can pay anywhere from 4 to 6% on your interest rates. And then the beauty of it is that you don't have to make monthly payments if you don't want to, because they're holding your assets as a collateral, right? So in some instances you don't have to pay it at all. So that those are the uses. And I want to keep these sessions short because I don't want to make it too long. Because today I just wanted to cover what crypto is, what are the real world uses, how is it going to ultimately hit that mass adoption, which I think we're very close. It the amount of users, people that are actually buying Bitcoin and or any other crypto is staggering. It's growing every single day. So I wanted to end with that, because I think I already said too much. I already said a lot of things already. For the people that are beginners, this is actually for you. Like, it's basic stuff. I didn't want to overcomplicate it. So that's why I'm breaking it up into short sessions, 3 to 5 sessions over the next few days. So again, if you have any questions, if anything didn't make sense, feel free to drop them in the comments, or message me. Doesn't matter. If this was valuable to you, I want to help as many people as possible. Feel free to share this video to your newsfeed. Feel free to tag your friend that you care about or your loved one that you care about. Let them know that this is happening. There's a revolution happening, and you want them to prosper. You want them to have abundance in their life. So tag them here, and I'll see you tomorrow, probably around the same time, or maybe actually a little bit later or a little earlier. But just watch this space. You can always catch the replay. I'll see you then. Bye bye.